In a quiet monastery perched high in the mountains, lived an old Zen master known far and wide as the painter of emotions. Unlike any other artist, he painted with colors representing different emotions, blending them masterfully to create harmony on the canvas. His paintings were vibrant and alive, a true mirror of the human soul. One day, a young artist named Taro, who had been troubled and depressed, climbed the mountain to reach the monastery. With desperate eyes and a heavy heart, he approached the master and bowed respectfully. "How?" Taro asked. "Can you be so happy yet produce such magnificent art?" The old master, with gentle eyes and a serene smile, welcomed Taro into the monastery and invited him to stay as long as he needed. The next morning, the master spoke to Taro while they prepared ink and colors for the day's work. He told him, "Stop fighting your emotions, my young friend. Instead, let them flow onto the canvas. Only once you relinquish control can you find peace." At first, Taro was confused by this advice. Eager to learn and desperate for peace, he tried very hard to emulate the master. He painted with focus and precision, working tirelessly day and night. After many days of laborious work, Taro produced a painting he was immensely proud of. A vivid, detailed, and technically perfect scene. However, the master, upon seeing it, calmly grabbed the painting and threw it into the fire without a second glance. Stunned and heartbroken, Taro watched as the flames consumed what he considered his best work. The old master, noticing his despair but remaining calm, encouraged him to continue painting. The next day, Taro channeled his sorrow into a beautiful, melancholic painting that seemed to weep from the canvas itself. But once again, without a word, the master took it and threw it into the fire. This time, Taro couldn't contain his frustration. He was furious at the master and his seemingly cruel actions. In his anger, he painted a chaotic and fiery scene, each stroke aggressive and bold. But the master didn't throw this painting into the fire. Instead, he looked at it intently, his eyes soft and understanding, and finally said, "Good." The student was ashamed that his master had seen this raw and angry side of him. He knelt and bowed his head low, begging the master to let him start over with another painting. He was visibly shaken, feeling vulnerable and exposed. The master, compassionate and patient, asked him softly, "How did you feel this morning?" Taro answered honestly, "Angry." "Do you still feel angry now?" asked the master, his voice steady and soothing. "No," said Taro, his voice breaking slightly. "I feel ashamed of my anger." "The painting took your anger," the master replied gently. "Now pick up your paintbrush and paint your shame." Day after day, Taro began to put his emotions into his paintings under the watchful and nurturing eye of the master. No longer was he fighting his sadness, his anger, and his shame. Now, he welcomed them like old friends, like allies who helped him paint. He started to paint with newfound freedom and ease, every emotion finding its place on the canvas, transforming from a tumultuous storm into a harmonious symphony. And for not pushing these emotions away, they flowed through him without tormenting him. He became as quiet and peaceful as the old master, his paintings vibrant and alive, reflecting his inner harmony. Years passed under the master's guidance, and Taro's skill and wisdom grew profoundly. When the old master became gravely ill and neared his end, Taro took care of him with the utmost respect and love. When the old master died, Taro was filled with grief, but he also felt a deep sense of gratitude for the years of guidance and love that the master had provided. To honor his beloved teacher and to cope with his grief, Taro began painting his biggest, saddest painting, pouring into it all his sorrow from the death of his master. He wept as he painted, his tears mingling with the colors on the canvas. He understood then that this was his final lesson from the master. When the painting was complete, he felt an overwhelming sense of peace with the circle of life. His master had died in the same way he lived, at peace. And so Taro knew he had to let him go. In a symbolic act of love, acceptance, and letting go, he took the painting outside. With a deep breath and a loving smile, thinking of his master, he set the painting on fire. As the smoke rose to the heavens, mingling with the mountain air, he sensed his master's spirit ascending, and he smiled contentedly. In that moment, Taro was not only a skilled artist, but also a wise and serene soul. Much like the master who had raised him, he assumed his place as the head of the monastery, promising himself to continue his master's legacy, teaching not just the art of painting, but the art of living with harmony and peace.